Hey guys, I want to go over this web developer roadmap. It's made by Kamran Ahmed, and props to this guy because it seems to be spot on. I can attest to the front end because I know more about the front end than I do the back end, even though I am full stack. But the front end is like seems to be like 100% spot on, and the back end path is if you scroll to the bottom, is right there. Okay, for you back end guys. So he has personal recommendations here in yellow, and these are the available options. But for this first section, so you're not confused, you're gonna learn all this. You want to learn all this. Okay, these are not like options. You need to learn all this. Okay, it seems like a lot. Trust me, it's not. You're not trying to memorize the syntax. You're just trying to get exposed to everything to see what is possible. Okay, and you need to learn how to use, let's say, the fetch API. You don't have to remember all the syntaxes of everything. You just have to remember how to use it. That's the key thing here, right? Because as a newbie, you don't even know what's possible. So you're trying to expose yourself to what's possible. Okay. From then on, after that first section here, go by his recommendations that are in yellow. Sass. That means only learn Sass. Why? The one he has in yellow, I'm assuming is because it's the most popular. So if you were to get a job somewhere, they're most likely to be using Sass and Bootstrap. So that's why he's telling you to use that. I'm assuming, okay? Now, there's no reason for you to go crazy. I'm going to do some extra credit and learn all three of them. Don't do that. That's a waste of time. Learn one of them, move on, learn Bootstrap, move on, and keep going, okay? The reason I say that is because the rest, you can learn whenever you want to, but you're never going to be an expert in all three at the same time. Even people who have, like, say, 5 years or 10 years experience, when, let's say they've been using Sass for 5 years, when they switch to less, they start to forget about Sass syntaxes. They just do. They almost have to relearn it again because they just forgot. That's just the way it is. So don't waste your time trying to learn all three. Okay, if a guy with 10 years experience has that same issue memorizing all the syntaxes for everything, you as a beginner are going to have even more trouble memorizing that stuff. The important thing is you learn one of them because they're all essentially the same thing. They're just a different way of doing the same thing. And the syntax is a little bit different. That's all. But once you know one of them, you can learn any of these relatively quickly. Okay? So don't worry about that. That's on a need to learn basis. If you were to go to a different job and they're like, hey, we don't use Sass, we use less, you say, okay, cool, I'll learn less. That's how it is. Okay? Now, same thing with, say Bootstrap, it's same concept. Okay? This is the most popular, so you're saying learn that. That's it. It's not because these are harder or anything like that. It's the same thing. It's just a different way of doing the same thing. Okay? So in that run BEM, I would suggest if it doesn't overwhelm you. Now BEM, I literally learned BEM like in 30 seconds. I saw the example, I was like, okay, I got it. It's ridiculously simple and it goes a long way. If possible, when you start to touch upon JavaScript, throw in Sass and BEM. If possible, if it does not overwhelm you. If it does overwhelm you, just figure what I said. But Sass and BEM go well together. And for me, it's easier to code in that style than it is to use just basic CSS. For me, that's just how it is. It may not be that way for you guys. I know there's some people out there that don't really like Sass and they like writing CSS, but give it a shot. See if you like it, okay? And then you're just going to be following everything that is in yellow. Basically, that's what you're going to be doing. Don't try to learn everything. Like I said, go by whatever he recommends. Simple as that. Now, one of the things that I saw everyone always asking, and even I myself was very curious and never got a straight answer, or I never saw a straight answer from anyone, was how long is it going to take me to learn JavaScript? And everyone was like, it depends, and they never would give any time frame. All right. That's funny because I have an online poker background, and every time someone asks a question, they would always be like, it depends, on all these variables, right? I'm gonna give you a more realistic answer. To learn the basics of JavaScript, probably somewhere between 1 and 3 months, depending on how many hours you put in. If you were to go let's say 1 month, I would say if you're going 60 to 8 hours a day, you could probably learn the basics of JavaScript in about a month. Not just basics. You can have a little bit more than basics and be relatively okay with it. Have all the fundamentals down in a month. If you're grinding that hard and going 6 to 8 hours a day, Anything less than that, I would say around 2 to 3 months just to get the basics down. And when I say that, that doesn't mean you're an expert. I mean, a year later, year and a half later for me, I'm not an expert in JavaScript. I'm assuming like to be an expert, I don't know, be really, really, really good with JavaScript, you would have to focus solely on JavaScript for years. Probably something like 3 to 5 years, I would assume. Now, in your brain, you're thinking that's a long time. Yeah, but you're not trying to just master JavaScript. There's so much more to learn as far as the front end. No one really masters JavaScript because you're working with so many other things, right? You're working with so many other things. You got React. Yes, React is a JavaScript library, but it's a different way of doing things. So the front end encompasses so much, it's really hard for you to just master JavaScript. It just is. Unless you were solely focusing on JavaScript, okay, then you can master it, I don't know, in a few years, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know because I haven't just focused on JavaScript, right? I'm learning the backend. I'm full stack. There's so much to learn. It depends on what your path is. My path, I want to be able to build full stack applications. Now, I didn't get in this game just to build something pretty. I want to be able to build whatever I want to build. But coding itself is so wide, you don't really know what you want to do until you have some understanding of everything. So it's kind of good that you branch out a little bit wider than usual. That's the reason why I went full stack too, and I'm learning more other stuff because you don't really know what you don't know, right? So it's good you get to a point where you could try out different things. Right now you can't because you have no concept of nothing, right? So it's hard for you to even touch upon something else or a different language. It's easier for me at this point. I could touch upon a different language. I could watch a tutorial and go, I get the gist of it because everything's kind of the same, sort of, where it doesn't take too long for me to learn something else or pick something up along the way. I'm not saying I'll be a master at something, but it doesn't take too long for me to get up and running, right? Whereas in the very beginning, you're just like, you don't know how to debug and you get stuck on the most trivial things ever. Like you missed a comma somewhere, you missed a semicolon somewhere, and now you're stuck on a stupid bug for like 5 hours. That's what's going to happen to you as a beginner. So I hope this was somewhat useful. And remember, you're not trying to memorize everything. That's going to come with time naturally. What you do want to do is just touch upon everything and have a general idea of how to use it, right? And if you're not memorizing, like I said, the HTML and CSS, the syntaxes or the terms, don't worry about it. As you're working with JavaScript and working on more projects, this stuff here you'll memorize. Like it'll come naturally. Don't worry about it too much. Just keep going, and little by little you'll start to progress. And once you have a better overall like knowledge of everything, it'll become easier and easier for you to learn. I would say maybe the first 6 months were the hardest. After that, it became progressively easier and easier and easier because I started to understand the whole, how to build a full stack application a little bit more, right? Whereas in the very beginning, you're like, what is an API? Like you get stuck and your head explodes on like the most tiniest things whenever someone talks about a database. Even this in the very beginning for me, learn DOM manipulation was like, well, what is that? How am I gonna learn how to do that? And like little do you know, it's something so simple as, I'm gonna simplify it a little bit, but it's as if I click on this and then this turns red. That's essentially DOM manipulation. And in fact, the word DOM, my head would explode. I was like, what the hell is a DOM? Right? And I couldn't get that in my head. And like there's little stuff like that just kind of gets you stuck. But once you go past it, you're like, why did I even get stuck on this? It's because of the terms. There's so much to learn and memorize that when you see a word that you don't even know, like what it means, it just overwhelms you in a sense, right? So that's the hardest jump to go through. Like I said before, I think after around 6 months, I was just started to become more and more comfortable and more confident that okay, like I'm starting to get this now. Now it's starting to click. Now I'm not starting to feel so overwhelmed every time I learn something new anymore because I already have a better understanding of how this works, like in total, right? The back end, the front end, everything like that. That's where you want to get to. So just don't quit, keep going, and it gets easier and easier. Trust me, it does. Like I said, I don't come from no college experience whatsoever. Poker player in the past. Before that, I was a loan officer. straight out of high school, and yeah, I picked this up, and all it took was basically me just not giving up. That's simple as that. I just never gave up. All right, guys, I gotta go. I took my pre-workout, and it's like I'm getting the jitters right now, so I gotta go hit the gym. All right, have a good day.